Hello, hello. Welcome to the May 2026 live Q&A. I'm just getting all my windows situated and make sure I have everything visible in all the places. All right. We'll get started here in just a moment. Hello, hello. Welcome to the May live Q&A. We will get started in just a couple minutes, let people filter in. Just getting all my stuff situated, looking to see if we have any questions in a Facebook group. And of course, I'm like logged out, so now I have to log back in. All right. Let me check on my phone. No questions there. Perfect. Okay. Hello. Welcome to our May live Q&A. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. If you're watching on the YouTube, you can also ask questions over there. If you're live here with me on Zoom, I'm trying to find my chat box. No, know where it's at. So there we go. Had to expand my window a little bit. Okie doke. Cool. It's always a lot to get everything like situated. Let me make sure my microphones. Can you guys still hear me? It looks like, okay, cool. Hi, Yesenia. If you don't mind your face being on the YouTube stream, you can unmute and talk if you'd like. Or you can drop your questions in the chat. It's up to you.
Okay. It's easier for me to tell them to you than
yes.
I remember one. I know I have two, but I gotta remember the other one. The one we had talked about like cleaning up the journal entries. I did that. I got everything to match. Now, the only thing that I'm concerned about, and I'm trying to figure out where it's at in QuickBooks, where Gusto comes in and it does a journal entry, and then it has like the wages and then the taxes, and then it groups them in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to match that with the W-3 that Gusto has. I was able to match the taxes. I was able to match the Medicare and all that, and the FUTA and the SUTA in there. That
Mm-hmm.
matched fine. The only thing that didn't match, and I couldn't figure out, was on the W-3 it had like $26,000 in wages, but in my QuickBook, if I go to the wages area, it only had like 22 something, so it didn't actually match the 26 that's on the W-3.
Yeah. So what I would look at first is payrolls that happened near year end. I would drill into those first to see if that's where the difference is. Like if the payroll actually was run in 2025, but actually got paid to the employees early 2026. If that difference makes up the difference, I would check that first. That's probably the lowest hanging fruit. If that isn't it, I would run the payroll summary reports for each payroll and drill back to the GL to make sure that each one of those matches the gross wages.
Matches the gross wages. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like there should be a line for each payroll in the wages account that matches each payroll summary report in
Okay.
Gusto.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All
But
right.
check the year-end thing first before you start going through each individual payroll because it could be a timing thing.
A timing thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And make
Perfect.
sure you're running cash basis reports when you do it. Like when you're running the GL, make sure you run it cash basis because that should match what's on the W-3.
Okay, instead of the accrual. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, the other question I had, because I'm getting ready to like close the books, like I move a lot of their, because they pay.
Uh-oh, you're cutting out.
You know,
You're gonna have to repeat your
better.
question.
Okay. The other question I had was I'm trying to I put all they take a lot of withdrawals um to pay they do a lot of 1099 NECs. So they
Mhm.
take withdrawals so they could pay their contract workers in cash. So I move everything into cash on hand, and then when I do the checks, I take it out of the cash on hand.
Mhm.
So every year, do I need to, if I have money left over in the cash in hand, do I, if that doesn't go in with anything, do I move that to like owner's draw, or what do I do with the balance of the cash in hand to zero it out?
Do they actually have like a money bag with that cash sitting in there?
That's a question that I would probably have to ask.
Yeah, I would check with them to see what their actual cash on hand is at year end, if they have a
Oh,
cash drawer, and how much cash they keep in it or in the store, whatever the situation is. And
okay.
you should balance it to that. So that whatever number you have left should balance to that. And if it doesn't, you've got to figure out why. So is it that they
But
paid an additional contractor out and it does, and like if it's lower or if it's more, like we just have to figure out what the difference is. And if you really can't figure out the difference, then yeah, I would probably put it to owner's draws.
that's what I was thinking. Okay. All right. Because
Yeah.
sometimes they pay bills like in cash and
Yeah.
stuff
So
like
those you need documentation for because that would be one of the differences you want to capture if they paid a bill so that they get that
exactly.
right off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have for right now until
Cool.
I remember one. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome. Welcome everyone else who hopped in to our live Q&A. We are streaming onto YouTube, so if you do want to ask a question on camera or off camera, you can unmute if you'd like. Just wanted to be transparent that your voice will be on the YouTube channel and the podcast and whatnot. So if you have a question you want to drop in the chat, you can do that. I usually run these for about 45 minutes, but if we don't have a lot of questions, then we'll just end it early. And then right now, what's also happening that I'm competing with is Alyssa Ling, Workflow Queen, is doing a workshop at this very moment on using AI on your firm, which I'm also excited to go listen to after this. So I probably just made everybody not even want to be here. But if you have any other questions that's not related to AI that you need support in, I am here to support you. Yeah, go for it, Yesenia.
Okay. This other one is I'm trying to streamline um my practice so that way I don't have so much time. And I know your program kind of shows us a little bit, and also Alyssa Ling has some things too.
Hmm.
I don't need like my practice is a little bit different because the people that I work with, don't do a lot of email. It's more calling or texting, asking the questions and stuff like that. Um, so is there like out of the programs that you have or Alyssa Lang has, like just to streamline it a little bit better, other than using some of the stuff? I guess I don't know how to really ask that question because I know a lot of the things that you have, you send emails out to kind of get answers and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
mine's a little different. So it takes me a little bit more time. And so I'm trying to think of something that could help me with that.
Yeah. So now we use something called Content Snare, and it's really helpful because it will send reminder alerts for people, and also they don't have to log in to something and have like a password and everything. Like when we send them a request, sends a magic link in email. So if they're opening it from the email that we sent it to, it just logs them into the question. There's also like a chat function in there, but that doesn't necessarily solve it still is the same issue if you have someone that's not going to be at a computer or like on a device answering stuff. And so the reality for you is that like you just need to gather all your questions and then
Send
call
out a
them.
okay.
You know
Okay.
what I mean? Or
Yeah.
if they're willing to do text message, you would, you could use something like well, it's not open phone now. Now it's called Quo. And that's what we use for our business line. And we do text clients through that sometimes too. But it kind of depends on the personality of your clients and their communication preferences. If it's easier to do a phone call, or a text message, that would be how I would handle it. Just gather all your questions and keep a running list so that when you get them on the phone, you can run through them and ask.
Okay.
I've
Okay.
worked with people like that before, especially in the trades, restaurant owners, people that are
Yeah.
just not at a desk.
Well, that's who I have is restaurant owners. So
Yeah.
they're just you ask them the question and then you wait like a couple weeks or whatever, and it's like you have to be in front of them to be like, okay, I need these like answered, but I don't have the time to like go around and do that. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's a challenge. And so that plays into a lot of like reasons for people niching in different areas and like deciding I don't want to work with clients that aren't responsive. And
got it.
sorry, I don't know if y'all can hear my cabinets slamming because my kids are home for summer break. But um yeah, so that could play into, I mean, the type of clients you choose to work with, or you just have a process where it's like, okay, I just know I'm not going to get answers for this until, you know, 3 months down the line. So you just have to be really good about documenting the question and making sure you have good context so that when you do get on the phone with them, you can remember what your question was, you know?
All right, that sounds like a good idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. Anyone else have any questions? Oh, someone on YouTube asked, can you explain the process that you use in conjunction with Zapier? Is it hard to set up? So I use Zapier for lots of different things. We use it hardcore in our onboarding process. Um, it's very easy to set up. You just have to like follow the instructions and the process in Zapier. Like if you have two programs that you want to get information from one into the other, and do automations that way, like it's a broad thing to talk about, but like when you go into Zapier, you can look to see which programs like have connections. So for instance, one of the things that we have set up is if someone books a discovery call through Acuity, which is our scheduler, it will feed their information into a couple different places. It'll feed it into Dubsado, which is our proposal software, so that their information, their name, their email, their phone number, the stuff that we collect from Acuity gets put into Dubsado so that after the discovery call, their stuff is already in there and I can just start creating a proposal. The other place that it sends it is into Kajabi, which is what we use for our email marketing platform. So it sends their name and email into our email marketing. So if they book a discovery call, they get tagged into an email list for us with for prospects or people that have been interested in our services. So you can use it for things like that. When we do our onboarding process, we have like it's already, we have their information in Dubsado because that's where we're doing our proposal and engagement letter. And so when the first invoice is paid, we have a trigger for them to then set up the Asana project, It sets up the Slack channel that we have. It sets them up in Quo, which used to be called Open Phone. So it sends their information into there. So we have all of that feeding in. It creates our Google Drive folders. Like it's a very long Zap that we have because we have all these different moving pieces, but it's all like happening at once. Yes, Dubsado has a scheduling calendar. I didn't use that when I first set up my business. I started on Acuity and I just ended up staying on Acuity because I liked the functionality better than what Dubsado had at the time. And one of the other features that is helpful is that if you have a team and you want your clients to be able to meet with different people on the team, it'll show everybody's schedule. It does that a little. I don't know if Dubsado has that feature yet. I think they're working on it. But it was a little more limited in what it could do. And so I just stuck with Acuity. It's not necessarily better for everybody, but if you do have a team, Acuity or Calendly are probably better options. But those are some examples of Zapier. You can use it for so many different things, and it's very user friendly, very easy to set up, especially now they have their like little AI agent built in. So you can just chat with it and be like, help me set up a Zap between these two programs. This is what I want it to do. And it'll basically set it up for you. And just you have to connect your programs, and it's really slick. So it's even easier to use now than it used to be. But yeah, if you have a specific question on like areas that you're looking at setting up Zaps, or you need more ideas, like the best place to start is to just kind of look at all the areas where you are duplicating efforts and like any part of the process where you are manually entering information that came from one program to put it into another. That's a good place to just figure out little areas to automate. But definitely follow Workflow Queen if you want more workflow tips because she's definitely a genius when it comes to that kind of stuff. You're welcome. Any other questions? Like I said, I usually go about 45 minutes on these, but um, Alyssa is running a workshop right now on AI. And so if there aren't any other questions, I will close this down early and we can all go watch her workshop. It'll definitely be going for like a couple hours. So even if you didn't make it to the beginning, there's going to be a lot of gold and it's free. So, yeah, I should probably grab the link and drop it in here. Let me find it real quick while I'm waiting for more questions. Copy link. All right. Dropping it in the chat right now for anyone who's interested in attending her workshop later. Yes, I just dropped it in the YouTube chat as well. Hello to anyone who just joined. This is our May live Q&A. There haven't been very many questions, so if you have a question, you just hopped on, please ask, because if there aren't any more questions today, I'm gonna close our live Q&A down a little bit early and go hop on over to Workflow Queen's AI Opportunities Workshop, which is free, and I also linked it in the chat here and on YouTube. But I'll link it again in case you can't see old messages. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, if there's no more questions today, I will close it down. And this will be our last Q&A until fall. So we're taking a break for June and July, summer vacay. But I will still be on the socials and dropping videos and podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned and hopefully I'll see you over in Alyssa's workshop here in a moment. So thank you everyone for joining me here live and we'll talk to you soon.